reading my story, Chasing Rainbows. Chapter 12, Nostalgic Reunions. Jess hurried along towards Sarah's cottage. She had promised to help her in the preparation of some apple tarts and cakes that Sarah was to sell at the local farmer's market the following morning. Louisa walked behind Jess at a snail's pace, which caused her mother some annoyance. "Come along, young lady. We haven't got all day, you know." Jess looked upon her daughter with exasperation. The child was dragging her feet and appeared upset about something. Jess knelt down beside the child. "What's wrong, Louisa?" she prompted gently. The little girl shook her head sadly. "When is Gerald coming back, Mama? I sure do miss him," she replied tearfully. Jess wrapped her arms about her small daughter and tried to reassure her. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm sure he will return soon. But you do know this isn't his real home. He is only visiting." Louisa nodded slowly, bravely trying to smile. "I'm just sad, Mama, 'cause I miss him and all the fun we had," was her response. Tears trembled upon her lashes, and she rubbed her eyes. Jess hugged her close. "I know, darling, I know. But right now, I promised Sarah that we would help her to do some baking. You enjoy baking, don't you?" Jess smiled. Louisa nodded, her small face brightened. "Hadn't we better hurry then, Mama?" she exclaimed, and they ran lightly through the woods. Later, whilst Louisa played in the garden, Sarah made tea for them. As Jess sipped her tea, she ventured to ask if there was any news from Gerald. Sarah shook her head. "No, maid. He didn't want us to worry. Promised he would come back soon as he could." Jess nodded. "And I'm sure he will. It was just all rather sudden, him leaving like that." She coloured slightly, hoping that she had not spoken too frankly. It was none of her business, after all. Sarah chuckled and gently squeezed her hand to reassure her. "Oh, ho, 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 ho! Between you and me, I think he's got a bit of a surprise in store. Can't imagine what it is, but I just feels it in me water." Jess stared in awe. "How do you mean?" she pressed. Sarah shook her head. "I'm just as much in the dark as you, Jess, but he seemed mighty pleased about something, I reckon." Jess grinned as she collected their empty teacups. "Guess we would just have to wait until he gets back then," she replied. As she rinsed the cups under the tap, Louisa came skipping into the kitchen, her small face flushed with excitement. "Mama! Mama! Gerald's coming, and he's got ever such a pretty lady with him." Sarah went to wait by the cottage door to welcome her son and the rather shy woman by his side. Jess stood back slightly and felt almost like an intruder. She wrapped her arms around Louisa, who was fairly bursting with excitement. Gerald came up to Sarah and kissed her on the cheek. "Hello, ma'am. I'd like to introduce you to someone very special. Her name is Kathleen, and I surely hope to make her my wife if she accepts," he announced, to everyone's astonishment. Sarah ushered everyone into the kitchen, and once they were all seated around the table, Gerald took hold of Kathleen's hand. "I know what I am about to say is going to surprise you, ma'am, but there is no easy way around it." He gently kissed Kathleen's hand and smiled at her with adoration in his eyes. She blushed prettily her face aglow with happiness as he gazed upon her. So I will try to explain it as best as I can. Many years ago, when I first made up my mind to go to sea, I met this beautiful young lady quite by chance whilst in Plymouth. Kathleen had just arrived in Plymouth by train from London. Having recently suffered the loss of her mother, she had obeyed her wish and travelled to London to find work. However, on arrival in London, the job she accepted was clearly not suitable. She tried to settle down, but things did not work out to her advantage, so she decided to travel down to the West Country to seek employment. When we met, Kathleen was intent on finding a job as a maid or assistant cook in one of the grand houses hereabouts. We shared a table together in a diner, and after lunch she accompanied me to the docks to inquire after work aboard a steamship. I was lucky enough to be signed on that day and was told to return the following day, as the captain was due to cast off on the evening tide. I felt pretty pleased with myself, as you may recall, ma'am. As it was a beautiful summer's day, not a cloud in the sky, I suggested a walk along by the embankment. Engrossed in conversation, we found ourselves wandering further than intended and ended up a couple of miles outside of town. At this point he paused and coloured slightly. This is not something I'm proud of, ma'am, but I'm afraid I was intoxicated by the charms of this wondrous young lady. We were both overwhelmed by our emotions. He hesitated. Kathleen smiled at his mother. Gerald was the perfect gentleman, Mrs. O'Connor. She blushed again. I was just as much to blame. To be sure, we were young and foolish. She tucked her arm in his and smiled up at him, love shining in her eyes. During all this time, Sarah had sat listening intently. Now she reached out to gently touch his hand. I don't understand. What are you trying to tell me, lad? She spoke softly, her eyes full of questions. Gerald clasped her hand in his. We arranged to meet the next day at North Road Station, but although I waited for some time, Kathleen did not show up. I retraced my steps to Hayden's Bayswater Temperance Hotel, where I knew she had lodged the previous evening. At first, the desk clerk did not appear to have any information to relate, but then she found an envelope which was clearly addressed to me. Kathleen had written briefly of how she knew I was intent on working away at sea and how much it meant to me. She wrote that it was better we part this way, he divulged. Tears clouded his vision. Something I have deeply regretted ever since, Kathleen admitted. Yet despite the grief my decision caused, we have found each other again, she concluded softly. However, Sarah knew there was more to it than that. Something was amiss. Louisa was becoming restless. She clambered down from her mother's lap and ran to Gerald. Will you stay here now, Gerald dear? She looked up at him with mischief dancing in her pretty blue eyes. He chuckled, lifting her high into the air. Ho, 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 ho! Well now, we shall have to see about that, my beauty. Jess looked at her daughter askew. Louisa, you naughty girl! It's rude to ask questions like that, she chastised. Gerald laughed heartily. Oh, ho, 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 let her be. She is just being a curious little minx. He playfully tweaked her nose. Louisa wriggled free of his arms, ran out into the garden with Gerald hotly in pursuit, pretending to be a dancing clown, while she chuckled in delight as he pulled funny faces. The little girl clapped her hands and jumped up and down with glee, clearly pleased to be the centre of his attention. Sarah shook her head and smiled, watching them through the window as they chased around the garden. He had not told them everything. She felt sure he was holding something back. Sarah felt uneasy. Jess decided it was time. She politely took her leave.